Today's episode of the Punk Rock Horror Podcast is brought to you by Snubbed Records. Hey ghouls, gals, creeps, and mutants, Matt here. Real quick before we jump into today's episode, I want to talk to you about our latest sponsor, Snubbed Records. Snubbed Records is a record company that not only signs some amazing punk rock bands, but also makes some delicious coffee. With such bands under their name, though, such as the Queers Independence, Statues on Fire, and even Savage Remains and the Sick Boys, they have been making their name themselves from having so much amazing bands and also, again, having amazing coffee. So what they're doing right now to try and help everyone during the stay-at-home quarantine crisis is giving all of you amazing listeners the chance to go and listen to some amazing albums for free. That is right, for free, that you might not get anywhere else at all. So the way to do this is super simple. You just go over to snubbedrecords.com, take your mouse, click on Fuck COVID-19. That's right, Fuck COVID-19. At the top of the page, pick an album from that drop-down menu, and you will be able to listen to it in its entirety for free. Also, to help anyone out, and this is also why we really are happy to partner with them, they are right now giving the opportunity to have anyone reach out to them via email, and we'll send you a free bag of coffee. That is right. All you have to do is send an email to rs@snubbedrecords.com, and you will get your own free bag of 8-ounce coffee. This coffee is their pumpkin roast. It is the Snubbed Records Pumpkin Patch. That is right, Pumpkin Patch for totally free. They believe that everyone should have access to a cup of coffee and access to great music, and that is why they're doing this right now. And so all these links will be below, but again, if you want to listen to some music right now, go over to snubbedrecords.com, click on Fuck COVID-19 at the top of the page, and start streaming your favorite album right now. And if you want your own coffee, send an email to rs@snubbedrecords.com. We will have those links in episode notes below. Thank you again, and let's jump into this episode. So, the one thing I will make the case for the whole Tiger King obsession everyone's had lately, because I get like why everybody's like, I hate it, everybody's talking about it, I don't see the appeal, it's a terribly made docuseries, blah blah,
fucking blah,
the same old shit everyone else is saying. So yeah. I get where they're coming from, though. Like, you know, I've definitely been that person that's jumped on the hating something that's popular bandwagon. You know, I remember the good old Twilight days when that was fun to hate on that. So, like, that was rad. But
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Hey, no one, not as many people hate Kingdom. I have legitimate reasons why Kingdom Hearts 3 is a piece of shit. And I will argue anyone willing to come on this show. I swear to God, like that is that like thing with Eli, Sinister 2, no one can make the case for those movies to me. I can't make the case for myself. That's why I know. So just fuck it, man.
I don't know. I think just for me with the whole like Tiger King thing and like everyone shitting on everybody who's like loving on it. Honestly, like I know like mostly people are saying like stop idolizing him. That's not the point, because like Joe Exotic was such a piece of shit in reality. And I kind of feel like they also they did like Netflix had to do that like 8th episode, not just because everybody wants more, but mostly because like if you notice like throughout the whole thing they were all saying, oh no, he was a terrible human being. He's a terrible human being. He was a terrible human being. And it's mostly because everyone like was quote unquote idolizing him. I honestly feel like it's been the reverse. Like, yeah, there's been people like, oh, Joe Exotic's awesome, but I also know almost all of them were like, yeah, he was fucking funny, but I also know he was a terrible person. Like, I haven't seen the idolizing of it.
So my whole thing about it is just this. Like, I can't say that there isn't people idolizing him, but comic strips that that one that has its like the first episode of watching Tiger King, but I don't get it. Third episode of Tiger King, that bitch care, but like that one, like that's a joke. Like that's meant to be a joke. That's supposed to be a satire on how people have become obsessed with it, right? That's not supposed to be idolizing it. But to be fair, I'm just gonna say the defense of the people that like to talk about it and like to laugh about it because of the dark humor associated with it, Like, and you getting mad at them about it. I will say, in their defense, being stuck inside, you got to kind of do whatever you can at this point to just keep your mind off the fact that you're stuck inside. So, I mean, to each their own. You know,
Yeah.
I guess Limelight. I'd rather be, be annoying and talk about Tiger King than just be really miserable and pessimistic. I don't. For me, I don't enjoy being that way all the time. It's very exhausting.
Yeah. Well, also like I don't think anybody should be shitting on people who are like loving Tiger King because like I mean fucking serial killer documentaries and everything are huge right now and there's always been around. That's always been around. I mean fucking true crime TV podcasts, like we listen to all of that shit and we fucking love it. So it's like let the people have their shitty ass Carol Baskins. Like
Yeah, there'll be a Carol Baskins about it all.
seriously, quit being Carol Baskins. We're like, hey there, cool, all you cool cats and kittens, and then you turn around when they're like, hey, look at this cat. No, fuck you. I'll feed you to my tiger. It's like, come on. Just let the people have our avocado toast, especially in a pandemic.
And welcome back to the Punk Rock Horror Podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Cody.
And today we are here to remind you to go outside if it's essential. I mean, what I mean by that is go run around, go exercise. I mean, if you can do that, try to do that. Don't do it around other people. But
yeah, still remember social distancing. Wear your masks. Wear gloves. Wash your hands afterwards.
And if you don't want to do that and you'd still rather just like eat shitty and sit inside, do that too. Whatever makes you happy. We're not here to tell you what makes you fulfilled in life. We're just here to encourage you to do what makes you feel happy right now.
I mean, at least step outside on your front porch for like a minute. Get some sunlight.
At least bring the TV outside on your porch,
Yeah, do that. Something.
Get an outside TV.
Like I had to do that today. I was like, I need some kind of sunlight, so I stepped outside, just on my front porch. I was like, okay, it's enough.
This works. This is good.
This is good, and I feel good now. I got my sunlight. Now I could go back in and be all pasty.
Pasty, and it feels alright.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
It's all right, man. It's late, and fucking everything's going crazy. I'm just.
I feel crazy. Oh, so crazy.
I'm also like just in a weird spot because like I possibly have like a promotion coming up, maybe.
Oh, well, exciting. Good news.
Yeah.
Speaking of good news.
I was gonna say after my second interview this week, so we'll see if I get it.
Well, I believe in you, buddy. I'm sure you will.
I mean, by the time this episode comes out, I'll hopefully know. So.
Well, Cody had the promotion. Well, he passed the interview. Tune in, same bat time, same bat channel, loyal viewer.
I was waiting the same bat internet because.
I mean, since it's just a very enthralling episode already. Yeah. You know what? Fuck it. Okay, game time. I'm in the zone. Let's do this. Let's talk about some things we love and hate, man. Let's move on to that. You mind if I kick it off this time around?
No, go ahead. You do you.
I got two kind of hates, but combined they make one giant hate.
Okay.
So what I kind of hate this week is two small things. So first off, I love the new Parasite. That's what I love this week. I love that Parasite movie. It's on Hulu now, so I've been watching it on and off when I can, and I've been enjoying it. Which I know that's weird. You're saying like, Matt, what do you mean on and off when you can? Aren't you stuck inside? Correct, but I'm trying to treat my weekdays as still work weekdays and do some sort of work.
Yeah.
So I'm focusing like on trying to get this whole streaming worked up on for us, and it's a hit and miss so far. But that's but the new Parasite the Parasite film is awesome. I mean, everybody knows it's awesome. I really enjoy it, and I just want to share that I really enjoy it, and I love it, and it's fantastic. I love the director, and I'm good. I'm just good, man. Like it's
I
good
mean, it's the
horror.
whole reason why we did our Korean episode. So
Exactly, and I'm just glad I told you I would eventually get to it. I told you, man. I told you.
I know, I believed you. It's just like it's such a good movie. Just fucking hurry the fuck up about it.
I'm doing it now. Anyways, yeah, it's a great movie. Anyways, the thing I hate though was that so like there was just like this really quick post I kind of like glanced through because I was getting more angry the more I was reading it, and so I just kind of had to end it quickly. Was this post with like Hulu responding to people tweeting, why is Parasite on, Hulu? I don't want to watch a movie that has subtitles. I don't want, that type of film. Like I don't get what the big deal is. I can't even. It's boring. Blah 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 blah
I
blah.
gotta read.
Yeah, like mostly because like I gotta read, and like Hulu's like doing a really good job at just being like, well, sorry, you're a fucking dumbass that doesn't like to read. Like I mean, they're not saying that, but they might as well be like. But that's
They're
my whole
like,
thing.
it won an Oscar.
Like that's my thing. Like I know why I don't like musicals, but I don't make it the sole reason as a critique as to say that musicals are bad,
Yeah.
Like I know musicals are good. I know why they're good. I know why they win awards and why they're highly regarded, especially when they're done right. But I just don't have to be a fan of it or, even to like it to not appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, like, and that's what I mean. Like, and it's rightfully earned that because, well, I mean, they're musicals. Same thing with subtitled, movies, and so, especially with such great movies like Parasite. Just I don't want to expand my worldview. I don't want to read. Well, that's great. I don't know why you need to let everyone else know about that. Like I
Yeah.
don't even like you're the person who purposely who like legitimately lets everybody know that they're going pee or poo. They
Yeah.
don't do it just to be a pain in the ass like I do. Like you're just going like that's kind of what I mean. And I know it's like a really narcissistic way to put it, but god damn it, like I'm just so upset with the whole like I don't want to read. Like but tell you Grok
Well,
don't
like my
like
favorite
book,
thing about
Grok
that
like
entire
fire.
thing, favorite thing about those like comments and stuff is like, well, you took the time to read the fucking article and comment about it. Why don't you just take the time to watch the movie then?
Yeah, like form your own opinion. If you legitimately don't like it, then form your opinion as to why you don't like it after watching it. Don't be the guy that just hates it just because it's cool to hate it.
I hate it
Don't
because I
be
have to read and fucking it's foreign and it's so popular.
you're not badass. You're not rough. You're not tough for liking things that are popular just because they're popular. I would know. Trust me. So I
I've been
call it.
doing it my
I would
whole
know, so I'm calling it out for it.
life.
So like it's I don't know. That's what's just been pissing me off this whole entire time is just that is that I'm also like slightly irked that lately like it shouldn't bother me as much as it does, but it's just it's just because like my anxiety rises up when it happens. But when I go to the store, I actually do take like a mask with me
Oh, I do
to
too.
like around, even if it's one person, I still just put it on just to be
Yeah.
safe. Like I know, like maybe in some sense it's ridiculous, but like I'm trying to think of like my kid and Lauren, and then anyone else that I come into because I still go to work and not, and there's some people that I work with that are older than me, and so like I'm just trying to be mindful of them too, and so like. That's my whole thing why I'm doing it, but I'm getting tired of the whole like, oh, you look ridiculous, blowing it up proportion. I know we've talked about it before, and I'm not going to really spend too much time on it, but it's just
Yeah.
doing this shit out of me. Like, if I look fucking crazy to you, then fine, fuck it, man. But like, you don't need to give comments about it.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
So it's just something that's been irking me. Like I said, I think it's mostly because like it like raises my anxiety, just being like in the store
Yeah,
with
it
everything going
sucks.
on. Like I know it's dumb, but it's just that's how my head works, yo. So
Well, same here. Like, well, I had to go to the store for the first time, like inside the store on Saturday, since like this really started getting out of hand, and like
yeah,
waiting in line, like with the whole social distancing thing, and then like going into the store and like, but seeing people without masks like start judging me for wearing my mask. I'm like, go fuck yourself, man. I'm under so much anxiety and stress right now. Like I was freaking the fuck out just because I'm like, can I touch anything? Like,
it's kind of funny to like to get over it. Like I as corny as it is, and I feel like that should be on a t-shirt eventually because I feel like I always say as corny as it is. Um,
yeah, it has to be you as a
I
corner job.
yeah, like a zombified corn.
Yeah, and then like I'll just be like the farmer sitting there with like just a confused face of just like, ah, when you're like, as corny as this is.
You wouldn't believe this. Um, no, so I like sometimes I like to pretend that how like Mortal Kombat has like even though it's kind of like still going through its revamp somewhat like they had all the ninjas like the
Yeah,
like in way back in the day they all basically were Scorpion just a different color.
yeah.
um so like I pretend that I'm the light blue medical one.
You're like healing power.
If don't worry, I'm a doctor. And like do some like stupid like jumping around parkour and new jitsu made up new jitsu stuff. Like what I think is new jitsu.
It's like, is he doing all right there? Like he's larping. All right, that's how he gets through
It's just he's been inside a lot. Let him have this.
it. Yeah, he's played a lot of Mortal Kombat this week. Okay,
Like a lot. Oh my
a
god,
lot.
there's an ending in that game that is so fucking ridiculous that I don't like. I kind of want it to be a game already. So,
Is there multiple endings?
well, I mean, no, for one of the characters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, for when you beat one of the towers. But anyways, man, enough about what I about the stuff I love and whatnot. What about you? What do you love and hate?
Well, the thing I hate is kind of like I know we're beating it over the head with a dead horse, but it's just kind of like the unseverity like people aren't taking around this, like in businesses and companies, like seeing these American businesses and American companies like forcing their people to work just because they're like, we need to make money even if you die, like just seeing all that, like, so as an example, WWE, instead of like looking out for the safety of their, like, I mean, I'm sure they have all these precautions and stuff, but it's like it's kind of hard at seeing as how like the whole profession is being physically close to the person and to body slam them and shit. But like,
Right.
I like was seeing that how like they're making their employees start doing the live taping events because, and one of the biggest reasons is because like Fox won't let WWE tape a shit ton of them in advance and stuff because they're only allowed so many with their deals. And it's like just really, really, even with a global pandemic, you can't be like, all right, film several months in like a day or two, get your shit done so your employees can like chill at home for a while. It's like can't have that. Really, come on. And I
Right.
know there's like other companies that are doing the same. Like, so that's why just what I'm pissed off about is like the fact that like here it almost feels like there's no one looking out for their people, you know?
Oh, I guarantee like the reason they did it, I guarantee like something it was because I bet anything's because WrestleMania did poorly with ratings.
I don't know. Like, honestly, WrestleMania was pretty tight. I enjoyed it. I thought all the matches were pretty solid for what we got. And, like, the Boneyard match and especially the Firefly Funhouse match were fucking great. Like, it's just like one of those things where it's like, okay, we're gonna be doing them live, but you still have no fans.
Well, that's what I mean, man. Like, yeah, like I know it was good and whatnot, but it wasn't like that's what I'm saying. Even though like you like enjoyed it, like it probably wasn't enough to bring in enough people to justify doing it again, at least in
Yeah.
their eyes.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things where it's like I don't want to see all like, these wrestlers that I enjoy watching and stuff get. Yeah, it would suck, and it's been great having that escapism with AEW and WWE still being on, but like I would rather them like stay safe and get healthy and not lose their careers or their pushes just because they're like, I need to stay home at home for my family because it's a pandemic. So
Yeah, or even so wait, they're not letting fans come back. It's just they're doing the only the workers.
yeah, just the workers.
Oh, okay. Like I also thought they were saying like, yeah, fans too.
No,
Like,
not yet. They're not allowed. I mean, I know they've been trying. I know they've been trying to find ways around it, but no, it's just workers. But it's like still, it's just one of those things. In my opinion, it's like you should do what you're gonna do and like pre-tape a lot of them. That's the nice thing about WWE is you could do that. And I felt like when they pre-taped some of their shows, like they were able to edit it to make it look really, really good and do really, really well with like the situation. It's just like one of those things where it's I almost feel like they just should have stuck with that instead of be like, well, we got to respect the contract. It's like, come on, really? In a like a possible world-ending thing, economy-ending pandemic, you can't just say fuck the contract for a while or like let's renegotiate. It's just one of those things because like even if like a company like WWE can't get away with something like that, it's like that shows the bigger cracks and the bigger issues with the situations and like the not just the economy but like other things that's going on with our world that's wrong over here. So that's just what I like is what's pissing me off. But the thing I love is honestly today I had a really 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 good day with Audrey, and it's kind of been a hot minute since we had really really good days. Mostly because like not just because like we can't go out so she's bored and stuff, but like mostly because I've been having to like reteach and relearn ways of parenting her because she's getting older and of course getting an attitude and stuff because she's getting older, but also like
yeah.
knowing that like some parenting choices I've made in the past were probably weren't the best, so I have to redo that, and always like evolving with that and figuring all that stuff out has been causing a lot of tension, and also just because of the pandemic too. But me and her had a really really good day today, and that's just something that I really love is the fact that like we didn't have any tantrums today. Me and her like got along really well. We both understood each other's like sarcasm today because she's been a lot better with communication, but you still has a huge long way to go, but she's been getting there, so it was nice. So yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, that's sweet.
Parenting win ish.
Parenting win.
Ish.
Yay.
Baby steps. But yeah. So yeah, that's the thing I love.
Well, that's sweet, man. I feel you. It's kind of the same way with Erin right now too. Even though like she is granted like older, like already, like it's still kind of like happening here and there as well. Like, I mean, it's not like bad in any sort of way, but trying to like realize when she's ready for like a more mature talk and like trying to slow things down for her to understand like why we're getting upset. Like the worst thing that she did recently, and like mean worse like in a loose manner,
Yeah,
is like, yeah, like it was what happened recently is like, so like she had dinner, but she said she finished and then grabbed a popsicle. But the thing is that she barely touched dinner and just went straight for the popsicle. So not only did we have to make her sit down at the dinner table and just eat until more was actually gone from the plate, but also at the same time like she ignored some responsibilities that she was supposed to do at the time, instead just to get the popsicle. And so like so we had to get we had to get on her a little bit about that, and just like it's just like really interesting because I feel like normally I don't think she would do something like that, but I think like being stuck inside for so long is like what's making it worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's because they're bored. They're like, oh my god, I need something different. We've been doing good. You know what? I felt like I haven't pissed off mom and dad in a while. So it's just like, it's just only because like they're bored, and I understand, and that's what, like, same with here. Like I've had to like teach myself to slow down and like use smaller words with Audrey because I ramble when I try to talk to her, and I'm like, oh my god, she's just bored of me talking, so it's making it worse. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, but Erin's now getting to the point where she's trying to like to actually debate with me, and I'm like, no, 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 you don't get it, no.
Oh yeah, Audrey's already been at that point. She's like, no, Dad, I know. And it's like, no, you don't.
It's like that one little like mini argument she tried to have with me because like I don't remember what like because we got to jump into these movie reviews, but like I'll just finish it off with like like really quick what happened was like so she's tried arguing with me and Lauren, and I think it was about like I think it was also about like I don't know what it is with her and popsicles, but she just loves the shit out of them. Basically, it's just because like it's frozen sugar. But anyways, that side I think she's like getting a problem because she's getting more argumentative anytime we tell her no. Like so, there's one time where I was like, "Oh no, I remember it now. Oh my god, yeah." But I still think that the popsicles feel it. So what basically happened is like me and Lauren were just trying to mess with her and have fun with her.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we did was we were giving her a hard time about who was going to read her a book to go to bed tonight, like not tonight, but like for that night. And so me and Lauren are like, I don't want to do it, and Lauren's like, no, I don't want to do it, and I was like, I don't want to do it, just trying to mess with Lauren. Trying to mess with Aaron, and Aaron's just like, watch do a eat me money mo, and I'm like, she's like, I'll do any meeny miny mo, and I'm like, okay, well you can't. I'm like, okay, do any meeny miny mo, but she didn't know how to do meeny miny mo.
Yeah.
She would just look at me and say any meeny, then look at Lauren and go mo, and I'm like, no, okay, no, that's not how you do it. So she's like, okay, we'll rock paper scissors. And I'm like, okay, we'll do rock paper scissors. She's like, yeah, and I get to choose who wins. And I was like, no, you don't. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, you don't get. That's not how rock paper scissors works. And she's like, uh-huh. And I'm like, no. I'm like scissors beats paper, paper beats rock, and rock beats scissors. That's how it's always been. That's why it's rock paper scissors, Aaron. And she's like, yeah, well, okay, then whoever gets scissors wins. And I was like, no, again, Aaron, whoever. If I get rock and mommy gets scissors, then I win because rock beats scissors. And then she's like, she's getting more upset. She's like, but I want a say. And she's like, it's my no, I get to say. And I'm like, no, you don't. She's like, yes, I do. I get to choose because I'm a kid. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I mean, that's fine, but you still don't get a say. And she's like, yes, I do. I'm like, tell you what. I'm like, you want to say and how everything should be done and who does what in the house? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, are you willing to quit school? And she's like, no, you want to quit school. And I'm like, you don't want to. And I'm like, okay, because if you want to have full say in what happens in this house, you have to quit school and get a job that covers the rent. And she's like, ugh. And I'm like, what it takes to run the house. Ugh. And I was like, and you got to make sure you have enough money for groceries. I don't want that. I was like, so tell you what then. Instead of getting a say, you get to have an opinion. And that opinion and vote gets to be noted whenever we're making a choice. And so I had to go through like this whole like scenario. I'm like, all right, well, you're going to go get a job then. For her to just be like, okay, I'll back off.
Like, yeah, you don't really want an adult, do you?
So yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
Nice.
Parenting. We're the best.
I know. All right. We should probably jump into these movie reviews.
Yeah, let's do it. Alright, I'm positive I went first last time. If not, then I'm making it up. But anyways, do you feel comfortable going first this time, good buddy?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it.
All right. So, I did my movie. So we talked about zombies on Monday and talked about the evolution of zombies. And so I decided to do something. I just kind of like, I don't know, I was kind of feeling like I wanted to like more comedy zombie movie just because like, even though I feel like there's a lot more comedic zombie movies now than there are like super scary ones. I really wanted a comedy just because of this time. So,
Right.
yeah, and so I also just kind of wanted something a little more underknown because there's things we could have done like. No, you are. I think fairly certain you're. I mean, we've already talked about the Dawn of the Dead remake like so many times on here, but like we could have
If
done
you haven't
that.
watched it by now, it's your fault.
I know. Could have done like one of the Evil Deads for like more comedy. Could have honestly probably done Zombieland 2 because like honestly I feel like that was very underwhelming even though I personally thought it was fan-fucking-tastic. Like it was amazing. But
I'd say it's still too soon.
yeah. But so I ended up finding a nice little gem on Shudder called Dead Shack. Dead Shack. We're gonna have Dead Shack. Gonna
Dead
eat
Shack.
you back in the Dead Shack. But anyways, so
Come back, bite your ass off in the Dead Shack.
Get your crack. So
Zombies attack at the Dead Shack, baby.
Dead Shack.
Dead Shack. You'll need your shit back.
But Dead Shack came out in 2017. While staying at a cabin in the woods during the weekend, 3 teenage kids discover their neighbor is feeding guests to her zombie family. In short order, the battle is on as the kids fight to save themselves and their family. That was pretty.
I've seen this movie on Shudder, and it's on my list to watch too. So I'm excited to hear about this.
Oh, nice! It's good, man. I think you'll like it because like it's a very so. Anyways, it was directed by Peter Rick, written by Phil Ivanuizik and Davila LeBlanc. It stars Matthew Nelson Mahood, Lizzie Boys, and Gabrielle LaBelle. But yeah, no, it was LaBelle's. LaBelle. Anyways, but yeah, no, it was really good and honest. And just to help you out there, Matt, it had to start it off really good because like it wasn't a super long opening in the beginning. It started off like right from the get go. It just like shows you what you're in for. So it was actually kind of funny, and I enjoyed it. So it just shows this guy, and he's all drugged up, and he's trying to walk. And he's like, "Argh!" So he's like zombied. But he's like walking and trying, like stumbling out of this house and like bumping into the cars like that are parked outside the house. And he's just like, "What's going on with me? I don't know what's wrong." And he's like trying to run, but he can't because he's all drugged up. And then like this chick walks out in this decked out and all this badass like sexy leather gear and a fucking welder's mask on, just with a zombie on a chain, just pulling him around. And like she's stalking the drugged up dude, and like she knows where he is, and he's like trying to like hide in there, and it just like, and then like when she finds him, she's like playing cat and mouse with him, and the dude's just like finds a way to like get into this car, and then she just like opens the car door and just like lets go of the zombie and just goes, "Have at it, boy. You do good, boy." And it's just, I thought it was kind of funny. And then like she takes her helmet off, and I found that as a con of like showing her from the get go, but it really didn't matter because when she like gets reintroduced, it's just like from the get, it just goes from there. So it didn't matter to me in that point. But at that point, I didn't know, so I thought that was a con. But I kind of liked it because like it just showed like you're in for something kind of like pretty funny, but also pretty gory because like blood squirts all over the back of the car. But then it just gets to the point where, Matt, you would hate this part. This is where like the credits go on a little too long. And I feel like it was mostly just because like they had to play the entire song of what like for the beginning, because it just keeps doing a lot of cutbacks and force between one of the main characters that you're going to be following, and then overview shots of like this really nice rich neighborhood, and then it's slowly going into like more like the poor area of the area, and where he gets picked up by the rest of the crew that we're going to be following. And I just kind of felt it was a little too long, but at least the music was good. You know,
is the scene even entertaining in any sort of way?
It's boring. It really is. Like, all it is just showing, like, it's playing good music, but it just shows like overview shot, and then it shows him walking around. Overview shot shows him walking around a little bit more. Overview shot. Oh, he's texting his friends that are on their way to pick him up. Overview shot. So like, it goes a little long. It's pretty bad.
Well, I'm glad to know that at least he has legs and fingers.
Exactly. But after that, it gets pretty good there from there on out. In my opinion, they do a really good job with character development in this movie. Because they give you a reason why they like you to care about these guys. Because like, and these characters, so Summer, she has a lot of resentment towards her dad's girlfriend. But her girlfriend is the dad's girlfriend is a piece of shit. Like, she is really cunty towards the kids. She's definitely like, I want y'all to know I'm just here for him, and I don't give a fuck about you kids. Like, she has that attitude. And it's just like, yeah, I could see why you would hate her. And like the dad, he's really fucking funny. Like, you love this dad, but like, he sucks as a dad. Like, he's definitely the party dad. Like, he tries way too hard to be the cool dad, but he does awesome with like dad jokes. And so like, they all walk into this diner, and except for the girlfriend's staying in the car because she's a piece of shit and doesn't want to like eat with the family. And so like, the son tries to order coffee, and he's like, they're all 14, and he's like, the dad goes, "Oh yeah, don't listen to him. That makes me sound like I'm an irresponsible dad. But can we get 4 beers?" Like, he actually does that, and like, the waitress is like, "Oh my god, go fuck yourself." But like this entire scene shows like, you know, he's just like trying to crack dad jokes and be the fun dad and the funny dad, and like, but the kids are just like, "Oh my god, you're not cool." Like, you're an alcoholic. Like, and they tell him to his face, but like, they do a good job with like making you care about everyone, even though like each character is really stereotypical, like to the T. Like, the daughter, Summer, she's like, "Oh, I'm 14 and angsty because like my mom left and my dad likes to party too much, so I'm gonna be like the shit talking person. Like, you know, I have an edge on my shoulder," and like, or a chip off my shoulder. And then the son, like the brother, is supposed to be the comedic relief, so he's really goofy and vulgar, and like, and then the best friend of theirs, who's like the rich kid you're following in the beginning, like, he's sitting there like super awkward, has a crush on the sister, doesn't know how to talk to them. Like, it's just kind of like, all right, it's a little too on the nose in the beginning though, but they end up morphing into really great characters, because like, and then it's almost a satire on those two, because then it shows the jocks. But what I really liked is like, when it introduces the jocks in this movie, everyone just shits all over them. They're like, "Yeah, bro, it's like 8 in the morning and I'm super trash right now, and this is a MILF and I want to fuck her. And like, we should tag team her," because like, they're hitting on, surprise, the chick from the beginning who fed the guy to the zombie. And but like, they're hitting on her, but everyone shits on him. Like, Summer, like, they try and like pick on Jason, who's one of the kids that we're following, and they try to pick on him, but Summer's like, "You fucking pricks, like, go fuck yourselves. Can you let him out, like, get out of the way?" And like, and then when the jocks try to talk back, like the bad chick, she like just shits on him too. It was like, shut up. You're only cute because you don't talk, so don't fucking talk." And they're just like, and I'm just like, all right, it's pretty funny, like, to see, like, the oversaturation of the jock, like, the satirism of jocks. Like, I think it's fucking funny just because I was a jock in high school too, semi, because I played all the sports. So it's like, I know who exactly these kids are. So, like, I always enjoy it because I can also laugh at myself, because I'm not a piece of shit.
Whatever you say, you double agent.
But anyways, and so they all get to this cabin that they're all staying at. It's like, and they make fun of the whole cabin in the woods thing because like they look at this like cabin, they're like, really, we're staying in a piece of shit cabin in the woods, like in a horror movie. They like kind of somewhat comment about that, and the dad just goes, "It was cheap." I was like, all right. I mean, they gave an explanation, so it's kind of funny. But then like, and so like I enjoyed that. And so then they're like having moments where the kids go out, like step out for a quick minute, and then like they're claiming their rooms and stuff, and then the dad and the girlfriend. So the girlfriend is Asian, and so they're sitting down, and like he calls him his sweet fortune cookie, and Colin, his son, like walks by and goes, "That's really racist, Dad." And he goes, "What? Is that racist?" He looks at his girlfriend and is like, "Is that racist? That wasn't racist." Like, yeah, Dad, come on, it's 2017. That's racist. You're not allowed to say those things anymore. And like, it's just those little things I kind of like found funny. And that's where like this movie shines, is on just like the dialogue between all the characters. Like there's such good chemistry between all of them. Because like one of the biggest cons that happens though, so the chemistry between Colin, the dad, and Summer is like fan fucking tastic, and even with the girlfriend. But in the beginning, the chemistry with Jason is just, it's really bad because he's doing the super awkward stuff when he's talking to Summer that like, I don't know, I don't feel like I did this when I was 14, 15 trying to talk to girls, like especially the ones I like. But he's like, "Yeah, so Summer, what do you like?" "Oh yeah, I totally like that too." And then Colin would be like, "Dude, Jason, no, that's wrong. Jason, that you don't talk to a girl like that. Like you're striking out here." And then he'd be like, "You know what? I don't even like Summer. Like she's not even my type." And it's just like, ah, just and then like, yeah, because Summer's like, "Oh really? I'm not your type. So if I told you right now that I would suck your dick, you'd say no." Like she doesn't say that. It's just like one of those things where she confronts her because I can't remember what she says, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I don't like you. You're mean, and you're no, I wouldn't do that." It's just like, okay, you guys couldn't figure out a different way to do that whole thing. Like I know like 14, 15-year-old kids are fucking awkward, but like I don't feel like we were that awkward. You know?
Maybe it was just, I think it was more so just like supposed to like extenuate that character. You know what I mean?
Maybe,
Like,
I guess, because like honestly, like Jason's is supposed to be like your hero, but you kind of like, I don't know. He's like almost too awkward, like to the whole thing. Like he's definitely supposed to be the zero to hero person, but like I don't know. I almost like feel like they went a little too over the top with that satirization of that type of character. But the thing that I really like is that they're actually really smart though in this movie. So like Summer is the smartest person in this entire movie. So when they're like walking through the woods and talking, and that's when like the super awkward talk happens between Jason and Summer, where Jason's like, "Hey, I don't even like you because you're mean and dear. You know, I like more mature girls." But like, so they're doing that, and then they end up walking in on the house from the beginning where the drugged up guy is, and so where the terrible woman who has the zombies in the house that lives, and they like walk up on it, and they don't like, and they're like, "Oh shit, what is going on with this house?" And so like you see her bringing in the two jocks, and so she does her whole entire ritual, and they end up seeing, like, I'm not going to spoil what goes on, so they end up seeing like what she does to people. And so Summer immediately goes, "We need to get the fuck out of here. Come on, run." And so they're running, and then like they stop though, like, and I'm just like, okay, there's like stupid decision number one, but it's because Colin's like, oh shit, hold on. And like he picks up a rock and like Summer's trying to call the cops, but she's like, I can't get a signal. And so Colin picks up a rock and throws it and breaks one of the windows of the cars. And Summer just goes, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, well, now she'll know that there's people out here so that she'll know the cops are on the way so she won't do anything. And Summer's like, you fucking moron, she knows people are out here, so she knows she has to kill us when before the cops get here. And he goes, oh. And then Jason like turns around. This is like where he starts kind of redeeming himself, because he goes, hey, people, she lives out here, knows the woods a lot better than we do. We should probably leave. Like, straight up even says that. I was like, all right, fucking go, Jason. All right, you're starting to get on my like my good side. But like, and then
you're not too terribly dumb after all.
Yeah, you're not super terrible at this after all. And then like when they try and tell the dad, like it explains. So this is where like they explain the adult stupidity. Because, like, you know, in these, like, types of movies, they're always, like, the adults are like, oh, yo, you're fucking stupid. Like, there's zombies. Oh, you're fucking dumb. Oh, that woman murdered someone. Oh, fucking whatever. Kids. Instead, like, the dad is like, so that, like, they're trying to explain to him, like, what happened in the house and stuff. And he's like, hold on. So there's a woman, a cannibal woman out there. And they're like, yes. He goes, is she hot? And so he's completely trashed at this point, too. And they know it. They're like, oh, my God, Dad, are you drunk? And he goes, if I don't answer it, will I still be in trouble? They're like, yes. They're like, the dad's super fucking funny. And so, like, they tell him this entire story. He goes, okay, well, is she hot? And the son goes, Colin goes, I mean, yeah, she is pretty hot. And he's like, all right, let's go find the sexy cannibal. Like, so, like, it's just really funny about, like, how, like, what they do, like them and the interactions with the dad and the kids. Like, I don't want to spoil more of the dialogue between them, because it's really fucking funny. And so, but also a really nice thing is that there's subtlety throughout this movie that most movies don't have. Like I said, the acting is like on point in this movie to me. Like, and you could tell there was a low budget, like, but the acting is great, because there's this part where like the dad sticks his hand in something and he's like, oh my God, this felt like shit. Oh, it smells like shit. Oh my God, it tastes like shit. But he doesn't really subtly, like, while the other people are talking. And you just see him going, oh, and like the fact that he actually reacts to it, I thought was really funny. Because like they kind of keep talking after he says it smells like shit. And then he just accidentally touches his mouth and then he goes, oh God, it tastes like shit. Like,
dude, that fucking sounds hilarious, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's fucking great. And so, and then it continues on, and so
oh
Colin
my God,
ends up having to go. Yeah, like, it's really fucking great. It's super quick and subtle, but you'll catch it. And so they start also, but they do some like pretty realistic things in here. So like at one point, Colin has to pee, and so he's peeing in the bathroom, and then like he like sees an attack on someone he knows, a zombie attack. And he's like open it, and he's trying to like make sure they can't hear him. But it's like, do you stop peeing at that point? Because it's like right when he's in the middle of his pee, when the zombie attack happens. But they don't know he's there. And so it's like, do you stop peeing or do you keep going? And honestly, can you even stop peeing? Because like in movies, they normally like, you know, they're mid pee and then something happens like, oh, I don't have to pee anymore. And they run off or whatever. It's like, no, seriously, if that were to happen, could you actually stop peeing in the middle of it?
Like, you know, man, that's one of those things that it's one of those like conundrums I always wonder about movies, because like there's also like, unless it's like a, you know, comedy movie or like within that type of like humor, you almost never see people like use a bathroom in like media.
No.
You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, no, I know. But like in the few times that they do use the bathrooms, have you noticed like they can stop mid pee and like, oh shit, I gotta go like have this gunfight, or like, oh my God, I have to be quiet. Like, because
shit,
you know?
You know, man, I like to have the thought that they're going out there literal all guns a-blazing, You know, just like
Yeah.
as kind of like a dominance move, just not only like
Still peeing.
pulling out two like akimbos, but also just like fucking pissing in the wind. So
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Well, that's what happens in this because Colin like is trying to stay quiet, but he can't stop peeing, so he's pissing all over the floor, and he's like, "Oh my god, is it quiet? Did they hear me? Or can they hear me?"
he's like, oh my god, I don't want to die.
Yeah. So like while that's happening, Jason, Summer, and the dad are like at the house, and so they break into the house, and it's really fucking funny. Like while they're doing all this stuff, like the dad has like all this like great like shit that I'm fairly certain he like improvised on the spot. And then like so the Jason and the dad like are talking, and so he's like, you know what? Sexy Cannibal would be a really great band name. And he looks at Jason and he's like, wouldn't it? We should start a band. We should be, come on, like, look at me. I would be the singer and the guitarist, of course, and then you would be the drummer. Like, come on. And, like, the funny thing is, like, Jason has already seen zombies and zombies eating people, and he's, like, freaking the fuck out. They're trying to find this person, and he, like, actually stops and goes, I mean, I did actually just buy a drum set. Like, they actually have a serious talk about starting a band.
To be fair, actually, you know, really, in reality, I did.
Yeah,
actually.
like they actually do that in the middle of like trying to find this sexy cannibal zombie lady. Like,
oh my god, the banter sounds perfect in this movie, dude.
oh, it's so good. It's so fucking good. And then like when shit like, and this is when shit really hits the fan, and it's like they start like showing like smart ideas. So like at some point, I'm not going to spoil like anything that happens in here, but just because like. I don't want to go into it too much. Anyway, so like some of the like good ideas they have, like the dad gets incapacitated in a really funny fucking way, but he gets incapacitated, and they have a really good idea of like they stash him in the house because they're like, obviously we're a 14 and 15-year-old boy and girl. We can't carry a 250-pound 30 plus or 40 plus year old man. How are we gonna do this? And like, well, how about we stash him and like hide him and then go find and drive a truck to come get him. And like they actually like talk about that and figure that out. I was like, all right, that's pretty smart. And it like doesn't do stupid movie logic where they're checking all the cars. They're just like, we already have a truck that can go. We just need to go get it. Like, I just like that. And then also how they dispose of some of the zombies is really fucking good. My biggest con, oh no.
So, I'm here. Don't worry.
Okay, I just saw something there. I was like, "Oh no, what happened?"
No, I'm totally here.
Okay. Anyways, so yeah. Anyway, so oh my god, where was I?
So you were talking about your biggest con.
Oh, my biggest con. So this is where you can really tell like the budgeting like was an issue. Is that the fighting, especially the like this first fight scene where like Summer and Jason actually have their first one-on-one fight with a zombie. It's really, really bad, and really slow. I mean, luckily it doesn't last too long, and the rest of the fights are decent and they're better than this first one. But you could tell like that's not where like their focus was. Like the focus was definitely on the dialogue and the character development and the interactions between each other, and then also on the gore. Like buckets of blood, 5 out of 5. Because it is so fucking bloody. And then there's this one scene that goes so over the top with the blood. Like, you can tell they, like, have a sledgehammer and it just bashes in this person's face and they show it and it's so great. And
Nice.
It's so fucking great beforehand, like, what happens too. So, like, really good. So, definitely highly recommend this movie. It's really fucking funny. Like I said, you can find it on Shudder. If you have a Shudder account, it's free there. Some trivia.
Hit me with the trivia.
There's only one. Finn Wolfhard of Stranger Things and It fame starred in the proof of concept trailer for the film's Kickstarter campaign video.
Huh.
Yeah.
Go figure.
That's all we got for Dead Shack. But anyways, yeah, no, highly recommend. It was really good, especially because like if you're looking for, especially in these times, like honestly, and you need a good laugh, and you like zombie films, and you want a little bit of break from like the like over the top fast zombies of Zombieland. I did highly recommend this, especially another good cool thing about this zombie flick is that like it's very isolated. Like it's not a pandemic. It wasn't a zombie pandemic. It was literally this house with zombies, and that's all they're at, where they're at. So like it's kind of cool because like the lady ends up explaining at one point, like she doesn't go into detail, but she explains how like she's fucking tired and how hard it is to keep these zombies tamed and where they're at without causing an entire apocalypse. She's like, you don't fucking get it. Like she doesn't go into detail, but you could just hear it in her voice. I'm just like, go fuck yourselves and leave me alone. Like, so yeah, no, really good. It was definitely a good take on the zombie movie formula of like where it's not a pandemic, it's only at a house.
Huh. Well, now we know.
Yeah. So, Matt, your turn.
All right, I'll jump into it. So I'm definitely gonna check out Dead Chick now for sure.
Yeah, I honestly I think you'd fucking love it. Like it's really really good. Just because like the comedy is on point, and I know you like really witty dialogue, especially the banter between people, and like when it can be random and just but it works. Like yeah, you'll be sold on the blood, on the gore, and with the fucking banter.
Sign me up and call me Mary Sue. So, with Call Me Mary Sue in mind, mine's going to be a little quicker, but still a good review nonetheless. So, since we're talking about the evolution of zombies and talking about ones that are slow moving, eating flesh, and then the ones that are running fast and just devouring bodies entirely, I decided to go for more so in the middle of the beginning of all of it, essentially. So I decided to go into the realm of the good old, the legend, the Romero. But not an original, a remake. So bear with me. I decided to do 2010's The Crazies, which, by the way, which is now, I can't believe, a 10-year-old movie, so I feel it's still
Jesus
good.
Christ. And it still holds up, man. Like, I just watched this, like, for a couple nights ago with Dev, and, like, it still holds up.
Yeah, as of February 26th, it is fully 10 years now. So, trying to bring love back to this decade-old hidden zombie gem. So, at least in my opinion. Well,
yep. Well,
we did
talk about that zombies don't have to be undead, and that these people show all the ways of being a zombie, even though they're not undead.
Yep, so I'll get into it here. So it was directed by Breck Eisner, written by Scott Koser and Ray Wright, stars Radha Mitchell, Timothy Oliphant, and Daniel Pennebaker, along with Joe Anderson, and they are the main strong suit of this entire cast of the film, and I'll get into that here in a second. After a strange and insecure plane crash, an unusual toxic virus enters a quaint farming town. A young couple are quarantined, but they fight for survival along with help from a couple of people. So, and I want to clarify real quick, everybody in this movie did a fantastic job of acting. I meant to say is that there are four heroes that we kind of follow along as they push the story along. So,
Timothy, this is what turned me on to Timothy Oliphant, was this movie.
For me, it was The Girl Next Door.
Really?
Yeah, with Emile Hirsch and oh my god, I just had her name, Elisa Cuthbert.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, which that's like one of the few rom-coms that I will actually say I really enjoy. Just because I think it was more of the better made kind of like ones out of all of them. Yeah. That's just that's not the movie podcast we're running. So
yeah, I know. I just like Timothy Oliphant. I think he's a very underrated actor in Santa Clarita Diet.
I'm actually reviewing The Girl Next Door. So starting off, the movie follows Emile Hirsch, right? And he's this kid in high school who wants to make it to college.
Actually, we're going to turn it into talking about Santa Clarita Diet, the other Timothy Oliphant movie.
So I'm going to go by
that deserves a fourth
surprise.
season.
This is a 10-hour episode. I'm going to go through each and every episode of every season. All right, starting out with it. So Santa Clarita Diet stars Timothy Oliphant and Drew Barrymore, right? And so Drew Barrymore becomes.
Dude, it's a great show. And it's about zombies. It still works.
All right.
Anyway,
Okay, I'm done.
sorry.
So jumping into so like I said, great cast. So with Daniel Pennebaker of Flash and Friday the 13th, Timothy Olyphant of Justified, Santa Clarita Diet, Rhoda Mitchell of our favorite Silent Hill, and Joe Anderson of Horns and the Gray. So with this whole cast in mind, I mean, Joe Anderson and Timothy Olyphant sharing the screen time as Sheriff Dunn and Russ have just a great chemistry throughout, and it's always been like that, like they really hit on like that good kind of like I don't like brotherly type of bond that they share.
Yeah, they do. I
Like,
felt like they had really great chemistry in this movie.
yeah. They did really great. I actually kind of forgot that there were other police because I thought they were
I
villains
know.
too. Like,
Dude,
this
I always forget about the fourth character that follows them just because I always like it's just the chemistry between the three of them, like the Timothy Oliphant, his deputy, and the wife, like the three of them like have so great. I always forget about the fourth chick.
I will say that is one thing that I do kind of hold as a con against the movie is that Danielle Panabaker's character doesn't get much screen time after they introduce her, and they introduce her in a very strong way for a horror film. And in some ways that makes it a pro, but I'll get more into that in a second. So so this movie sets off as just what it says. It's a small farming community, a little town, and basically opens up to what is drones, kind of just like hovering over this entire town. Which, by the way, this movie should also be titled like the fuel for the fire for any conspiracy theorists, especially the chemtrail ones. Those people are gonna love this movie.
Dude,
Um,
especially now.
yeah.
like,
So,
not
to
gonna
be
lie.
fair, to keep in mind, the Crazies is fictitious and far more extreme.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so anyways, basically it's showing that there is something shady going on with some sort of mysterious entity. We could say it's government. We don't know it's government. We don't know who it is, but they're somehow involved with this small town. So, movies start showing that, how any small town works, kind of like the same vibes as like What's Eating Gilbert Grape, that small type of town kind of vibe thing, just showing everybody getting by, taking care of each other, so on and so forth. Not everybody loving it, what you imagine with any setting of a small town. With that in mind, it shows Timothy Olyphant and Rhoda Mitchell doing their day to day jobs, and they're Timothy Olyphant and Joe Anderson's character, character is wanting to go to be this cute boy, and so it's the whole like small town American ideal thing that you would imagine. And then as this baseball game is going, we see this man come up on the field, later finding out that he was considered the town drunk, with a double barrel shotgun. And Timothy Olyphant and Joel Anderson, both being Cubs, and at the baseball game, see this and they go and confront him, and an altercation occurs, and basically the man pulls up his gun and is about to shoot Sheriff Dutton, and Sheriff Dutton shoots the man, who's obviously not okay. And that's what really sets off the movie at that point, is that there's something going around this town that is turning people into a weird state that's not themselves. One could say a zombified state.
Yeah.
So,
No
and
way.
yeah, exactly. And so that's where
But
so once the pandemic starts to really take hold, and everybody else, and I'm going to kind of speed through a little bit here. But once more cases start to happen, they're finding more people that are starting to act out, and more people starting to, do these really strange things. And what really sells all these moments of these people being brutal to, the people that are not infected, is just the camera shots throughout the entire film, because they filmed it in such a really good way that it's very traditional with like it scares, but it's a very tasteful traditional way that they did it, that even I know what's going to happen, still it still raises the intensity for me, just because of how well these scenes are acted out and how well they're done. Like one scene I'm going to kind of point out real quick is a scene a little bit later on when the entire town is now under full government shutdown because eventually a little more investigating from the sheriff, and Russ finds that there was this plane that crashed into this marsh. That's where they get all their drinking. That's where they get all their water to feed the crops from. And
Yeah.
because the mayor refused to turn off the water, which, by the way, I'm going to throw a quick pro. That what's so great about this movie is that it definitely is already ditching some stereotypes with a few things. One being that the cops aren't stupid. So, like, the cops are
Yeah.
the only ones besides, like, the doctor, who Rhoda Mitchell plays as. They're actually smart at trying to solve things. Like, Timothy Oliphant's character, like, knows what he's doing. He's looking out for us. He's keeping people alive. Like, he's a hero through and through. Like, in no way is he like a white knight. Like, I'll save
No.
the dastardly, or not, I'll stop the dastardly people, save the damsel in distress kind of stereotype. Like, he's just a smart dude. And then he's like, him and Rhoda Mitchell, being a husband and wife, also have just great chemistry because she's the town doctor. And what's such a great part of this movie is that they do this really cool narrative of explaining exposition by having Rhoda Mitchell as the doctor explain what's happening to these people, or like hypothesize. So, like, for example, when, again, coming back to where it's all shut down and everybody's being quarantined and brought into the local high school to be quarantined and find out who isn't affected, they're using this word, the conflometer, to check people's ears. And, that seems like really obvious at first, but like it was really smart to have her husband, Sheriff Dutton, ask her what's going on, and they're like, she's just like, they're checking for elevated temperatures to see who might be infected, but she follows up with like, but the people who are infected are bleeding from the nose. So, like, suggesting that they're not showing a temperature. So that so like it's really smart. Like, I enjoy that for that. Like, it's so cool that it thought ahead to kind of like say, what is the audience gonna ask at this point, and how should we explain it to them without pandering to them. And I enjoyed that part of it, because it's not as her just trying to explain it to so the audience can understand, as so she can comfort her husband, in this case Sheriff Dunn, because even though he is the sheriff and he's supposed to be like the tough dude, he relies on her to keep him grounded, and you see that through and through, and you love that for that, and you're just like, hell yeah, I want this couple to live. And so, with that in mind, coming this same scene where they're all kept in this high school, Rhoda Mitchell, her character, we find out does have an elevated temperature. I'm not going to spoil why, but they end up taking her in and strapping her to this gurney. And this is what I'm talking about with where the camera shots in this film really help with the added focus of just like how intense everything is. So, what basically happens is that Danielle Panabaker's character is there too, and they're both strapped down, and the principal ended up getting infected, and you see him just dragging along this bloody pitchfork, and he's going across and just like stabbing these people that are strapped into the gurney, slowly making his way down the line. And the setup for the shot of just like him getting closer to Danielle Panabaker's character, then eventually to Rhoda Mitchell's character, is so intense that like it still gets me to this day, like 10 years later, just like how well it was shot, just that scene in general.
Yeah, it's good.
And so, one thing I kind of had to think about, like, what is the most, like, why is this movie disturbing as a zombified movie, And it's that middle area of they're not fully eating flesh yet, they're enraged, wanting to cause harm. And that's what's really the scare factor, is the brutality of how the infected kill the non-infected in this movie. It's the way they go about it, because it's probably again one of the closest things we're ever going to get to like a Cross series, but like it is just very brutal with how it plays out its scenes. Now it shows people getting murdered in this movie, and it makes it that much more vulnerable. So eventually the movie continues on. They eventually escape from the high school and are eventually just like getting on the run to get out of there. So this part's going to be hard because there are some severe spoilers. So I'm going to put on a quick spoiler warning and go into it. So I'm going to put on a 30-minute. No, I'm just kidding.
30-minute. You know what? Just log off now.
It's going to be a 2-minute spoiler. So if you don't want anything to get spoiled from you, skip ahead 2 minutes, going in 3, 2, 1. All right, so this was the spoiler portion. So basically, what ends up happening is they end up escaping, and then eventually Daniel's Panabaker. This is where I do hold a con, and I do feel like it's a bit rushed at times. Even though this movie is supposed to be talking about the brutality of what would happen during a file outbreak, worst case scenario. Danielle Panabaker, her character is so sweet, and you love it, and you like her so much. It's a real shame that she gets killed off in a very kind of dumbish way in this, car wash by being hanged by a rubber rope. Even though she could have fought back and could have probably survived and got out of the car and ran. That was a really frustrating scene, and it still bugs me about it. And the reason they end up at that car wash is because they're trying to escape the government, or what they believe to be is the government hunting them down in this helicopter. So it's already an intense scene as is, and you think they're going to finally make it through, and it's just kind of a bummer. In some ways, that makes it a pro because it's like the whole like, no happy ending thing, but at the same time, like it's still just kind of
and also like the whole like just the randomness of a pandemic, or an epidemic.
Right.
So.
And so as they're getting closer and closer to the border, we find out along the way Russ also got infected, and he's becoming more violent, more unstable. And so when after an altercation between him and his best friend, his brother in arms, Sheriff Dutton, he realizes that the infection's gotten worse, and so he then sacrifices himself in order to cause a distraction so the government doesn't notice Sheriff Dutton and his wife escaping. And so at that point, that's when like this movie takes on entirely different meaning on what like sacrifices they're going through just to save anyone at this point.
Yeah.
And so that is the end of the spoiler. So to kind of wrap up the movie, they end up getting to this truck stop to find food and transportation in order to get out of the border, get out of this place, get out of their little farming town, because eventually they find out that they're going to nuke the town to try to eradicate the disease that's already spread. And so yeah, it's a harrowing, capture of a truck that I'm not going to really spoil because I really want you to see it for yourself. It's just amazing and so intense and nuts.
That entire scene's fucking great.
You're just gonna have to see it for yourself. Trust me on that, loyal listener. So as it's going on and as it's going through, with them grabbing this truck and finally driving away, is this intense scene where they're trying to escape this, bomb. And they're not gonna. I shouldn't say they're gonna nuke it because they don't. I don't remember if they actually say they nuke it or just regular bomb it. I think it's just kind of implied that it's somewhat to the level of a nuke. And so
more than likely.
Yeah, and so like they're driving away from this mushroom cloud explosion, and at this point you're either gonna love or hate the movie for this because they're in a semi truck trying to outrun an explosion, and they're on like the brink of like finally getting away from it, but the explosion catches up to them still and throws them off the curb. I still like that they included that because I think that makes it somewhat realistic, but that's where they throw in a really bad amount of CG. And so that's where I kind of get upset with it because up to that point, there's a good amount of practical effects throughout.
For the most part.
But eventually our heroes do escape, and the film ends on a sky view shot of another drone showing they escaped, but also showing that this little town wasn't the only one that got infected. And so the reason why I kind of mentioned that is that because this was originally made in 1971 as a Romero remake, if I'm correct, I could be wrong, but if I'm correct, this is actually the movie that explains what happens and why zombies come to be a thing in the whole Night of the Living Dead franchise. I could be wrong. That is one thing I didn't get to actually check before jumping on recording, so you're going to have to forgive me if I'm wrong about that. But besides that, the only other con is that sometimes it can feel a little rushed for the whole film. There's just some scenes where it just like I said, how a certain character's death happens makes it feel a little rushed. And so even though it's like an hour and 40 minutes, there's just still some like weird pacing issues here and there. But other than that, it's still worth it. It's still one of the better type of zombie movies that have ever been made. And I definitely strongly recommend you check it out. I mean, if you love 28 Days Later, you're probably going to appreciate this one too, just because it's very similar in concept with how how the infection goes and it affects people. Some quick trivia: the old police car they get back to, the old police car they go back to get is a 1973 Ford Limited, which was the year the original movie was released. Nice. When the sheriff discovers the military plane, a satellite record records its location at 40.851216 and -94.548340. These coordinates do in fact point to Iowa, but to farmland and not to the marshes as depicted. The town of Lenox, population 1401, is the closest real town to these coordinates. Eerie.
Yeah.
Each actor who was transformed into a crazy had to sit in a makeup chair for 3 hours. And last one, the film opens with the song "We'll Meet Again" performed by Johnny Cash. The song is from the same album that provided "The Man Comes Around," which opened another remake of George A. Romero's, of course, 2004's Dawn of the Dead. So yeah, I mean, it's...
Hold on, I want to read one.
Oh, go for it, buddy.
So Elizabeth Banks turned down a role in this film because she thought it was too similar to her character in Slither. So what's really funny is for a while, like when I first saw it, after I first saw it, I could have sworn Elizabeth Banks was the main chick in this movie because I was just getting them mixed up between Slither and this movie. Like...
Nah, dude, it's Baba Bear, Rod Mitchell, who just goes ape shit crazy in Silent Hill.
No, she fucking goes ape shit. She just goes dislike.
Dislike. Where? Oh my god, we're never going to be able to open up the church.
I need to see your manager. Like, but no, it's just funny because like,
oh, sorry.
It was just one of those things where I felt like it was like a Mandela effect, where I was like, I could have sworn she was in this movie.
I promise.
Not.
So if you want to check out the Crazies, though, you can watch it for free on Tubi. You can also rent it on Vudu for $3.99, or you can watch it for free if you have a Prime account, or rent it for $3.99 on Amazon Prime and iTunes as well. With that in mind, ghouls, gals, creeps, and mutants, want to give a big thank you again to all of you amazing listeners for continuing to tune in and stay strong out there in the world right now. We have a stream going again. We have a dedicated schedule. Like I said, we're kind of putting YouTube on the back burner. Basically, what's going to happen is once this quarantine lifts, we're going to go back to focusing more on the YouTube, and then we're not going to completely abandon the whole stream thing, but we are going to kind of like figure out a better schedule for it. One game we're going to be jumping into, including in our catalog, is Dead by Daylight. That is going to be what we play on Wednesdays and Thursdays for the most part. We are still taking requests, so if you still want to be part of that, please come and hang out with us on twitch.tv/PRHP Gaming. But otherwise, feel free to follow us on our Facebook, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, or on our Twitter at officialPRHP, or
on Instagram, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, #PRHP Podcast.
If you want to support the podcast in any financial way, you can become a patron today at patreon.com/punkrockhorrorpodcast and just sign up for one of our amazing tiers, and you'll get some badass rewards that you will, with over 106 exclusive content to your fingers, which, by the way, we are aware that Spotify and iTunes is deleting some of our earliest episodes. We know that that's part of how their servers are. So, fun fact is, if you go over to our Patreon, though, you get to actually have all those early episodes for your listening pleasure whenever you like. So please go over and check that out when you get the chance, or consider going over to our merch, punk rock teespring.com/punkrockhorrorpodcast or punkrockhorrorstore.com. Thank you again, ghouls, gals, creeps, and mutants. Follow me at the Undead Matt, and we will talk to you about horror again next time.
Bye.
Bye.